Well, good morning. It's 6:31. We're glad that you're joining us online and in this room. We're excited about that. Today, our prayer focus, we have a prayer focus every day that we do the 21 days of prayer and fasting. Our prayer focus today is leaders, world leaders, city leaders, state leaders, church leaders, and you're a leader. Everybody's a leader. Everybody's a leader. John Maxwell says, and he's a leadership guru across America, rated one of the top guru leaders in the world or whatnot. But he says everybody is a leader. And I agree with John Maxwell. I won't dispute him. He's written and authored many books about leadership. I don't believe everybody can lead. I just believe everybody is a leader. Leading means leading people, which is one of the probably most challenging things in the world. When you look at the most controversial topic today in our world, it's about our world leader of our nation. Our nation leader is the most controversial topic today when you look at that. And it's because he's being challenged, and his responsibility is to lead a nation where we're free to believe and do and say whatever we want to do and say and believe. And I can't imagine being the president of the United States. But today that's our prayer focus. So in a few minutes we'll dismiss and pray. We'll come back together and pray corporately for world leaders. And at that time, I really like to pray for our president. I love to pray for the president-elects, all those that are spending all this money and time and energy. Like, that's the craziest thing in the world. You ever thought about the amount of money that they put into becoming the probably most stressful job in the world? They want it that bad. But I commend them for that. The scripture I wanted to look at briefly this morning was James chapter 4, verse 10. It says this: "Humble yourselves before the Lord, and He will lift you up in honor." And I wanted to focus on the order of that for just a moment. It's not He'll lift you up and then you can show Him how humble you are. It's show Him how humble you are and He'll lift you up in honor. And it's kind of a funny story. Beth and I were talking, probably like a lot of people in the world, on Saturday about what if we could hit the Powerball, what it would be like. And I said, well, I can tell you for sure we won't be eating ham sandwiches at starting point. And she laughed at me and she said, but we're fasting. So why would 1 point or why would $900 million change what kind of food we would eat for you, Jeff? Why would it change? And I laughed with her, and then I said these words. I said, don't act holier than thou. If that money came, I want to say, I hope I'd be the same, but $900 million, and this is what I wanted you to get from that is, it's not what we say that produces our level of humbleness. It's really how we live. It's not a visible thing always to be able to tell how humble we are. This is just proof, this passage is proof that God will not honor the proud. He does not honor people that are proud. Leaders lead, and leaders often experience success. Leaders that are leading people experience success. And here's how I know this is true. Not always. They experience failure, but a lot of times they experience success. Because if they don't experience success, they don't lead any longer. You look in the NFL, you look across any job that requires you to be a leader. If you don't experience success, you just don't become the leader anymore. You lose the position of being a leader. And want to kind of think about this. How many of you lead something? How many of you that might be watching this online lead something? Well, if you're a parent, you lead. If you have a job, whether you're the top person, entrepreneur, the CEO, senior finance, whatever, scheduler, or the guy pressing the buttons on the team, you're leading something. If you make any decision today, and all of us will, we'll make a decision today on something, we're leaders. We're leaders. So with that thought in mind, let me ask you this. How good does it feel when you make a good decision, right decision? And how much better does it feel when you make a right decision in front of other people? And then how much better does it feel when you make a good decision, you make it in front of people, and they notice it and tell you? They say, good job. It's kind of like that with God. God honors the humble. So when we present a humble attitude as leaders, when we present ourselves as humble, He sees the good job. It feels good to do it anyway. At first in the flesh, it sounds like, I'm not humbling myself. I can do this. But in reality, it feels good to humble yourself. It's actually freeing to say, I'm humble. Not only am I not God, I'm not responsible for what God's responsible for. But it feels really good when somebody notices you, and even better when God notices you and elevates you to a place of honor. His word says that He'll lift you up in honor when you humble yourself, not so you'll humble yourself. That's really not how it works. He doesn't bring you to honor. Oftentimes He brings you to disparity or distress. And I think it's really not that God places obstacles in your life. It's that God is really using the obstacles to shape your perspective so that you'll find the place of being humble. So, I believe this. I've said this a lot at our church. I believe that every person on the planet with a pulse wants to know two things, that they're needed and they're known. And their two favorite words of every person on the planet are these two words from somebody else. Good job. They want to hear that. We want to know somebody saw us do a good job. Now, if you come to Revolve Church, you know we have the most awesome worship team on the planet. Yesterday, it's every Sunday, they just go to a new level. It's just like, where did that come from? What just happened? Well, there's a guy, Tim, who plays the bass. He's over on the left-hand side if you're facing the stage, and he plays his bass with all his heart, his soul, his mind, and he loves it. And Tim and I have a lot of conversations. Every week we have a conversation about how good it was or what God's saying through the message to him, or maybe he reveal a message from God to me. And yesterday I was talking to Tim and I said, Tim, bro, y'all are killing it. And Tim says this every time. It's every time. It's 100 out of 100. He said, if it sounded great, it was all God. But if you heard an error, that was me. That was me. And I learned a lesson from Tim. Every time I hang out with Tim, I love to hang out with people like Tim because I'm really quick to take credit. I'm really quick to take credit for success. I'm just being honest and transparent. I like success. I like to thrive. I like to advance. And I like to take the credit. And I hang around people like Tim and others so that I can remind myself to be humble. Nothing wrong with taking credit. Just remember, when you take credit for the work, God's not going to elevate you. He will not. He cannot. So I wanted you to have these three principles. They're very simple principles that I just want to live my life by. I want to challenge you online to live your life by, and us in the room. The first one is never become arrogant. Never become arrogant. Nothing wrong with being proud of your work. Arrogance is saying, I did this and I did this all by myself. No leader in the face of any amount of success. I think of Steve Jobs a lot, who's gone on now and is no longer alive, but led one of the largest companies, Apple. He would tell you that there's none of his success would have been possible without the people he led, without others, none of it. So never become arrogant. Number two, always be real. Always be real. Always be who you are. Be real. Because you know what? Being fake is exhausting anyway. It'll drain you. It's so hard to be fake. And the third thing I want to leave you with today, closing. Always, never be arrogant. Always be real. And always, always, always give God the glory. Always. If you get up in the morning, give God the glory. If you succeed and you balance your checkbook and it works out to zeros, give God the glory. If you get to work on time today, give God the glory. If you get promoted, give God the glory. If you have a child that obeys you, give God the glory. I know you want to keep using the method that you used to get the child to obey you, but give God the glory. Psalms 115:1 says this, not to us, Lord, not to us, but to your name be the glory because of your love and your faithfulness. It's really all because of God. So I challenge you this morning as you watch this to disconnect from the clip here online and ask God, are there places in my life where I've been arrogant? Are there places in my life where I'm living a little bit fake? I'm not being real with myself or with others. And are there areas in my life where I really need to give God the glory and I need to stop taking the glory? Because remember what James said, humble ourselves before the Lord, and He will lift us up in honor. So I hope you'll take this time to pray and ask God how He can speak to you in your life, and you'll respond to that. We're going to take the next 15 minutes and pray here, and I hope you'll do the same online.